The Nigeria Labour Congress leadership chose not to participate in the meeting arranged by Minister Simon Lalong of the Ministry of Labour and Employment, aimed at preventing the two-day warning strike already announced by the organized labor. Only the Trade Union Congress leadership, led by its president Festus Osipo, attended the meeting, which began at 5:32 p.m. instead of its scheduled 3 p.m. The meeting, as at press time, was in a closed-door session, with the minister requesting that journalists excuse the stakeholders as they discuss crucial matters. The NLC had previously declared a two-day warning strike starting on Tuesday, September 5, which is today, in response to the widespread hardship faced by Nigerians. Incidentally, today marks 100 days in office of President Bola Tinubu. While some say that the president has done well so far with regards to piloting the affairs of Nigeria, others do not feel so interesting. Joining me to discuss this and more is Mukhtar Suleiman. He's a communication strategist with years of experience in advocacy and civil society space. Welcome to the program, Mukhtar.
Thank you very much.
We're happy having you. Can we say happy anniversary?
Oh yeah, 100 days. It's nice.
100 days. All right. Viewers, this is Daily Politics, and I'm your host, Hamza Idris. We'll take a short break, and when we return, the conversation commences. Don't go away. Welcome back. Yes, Mukhtar. Let me be frank with you. I never thought today, marked 100 days of Tinubu's anniversary. Anyway, you are an advocate of this of good governance. You thought it's 100 days?
Actually, it felt like a year, if I'm being honest. Like, it feels so long.
How do you mean?
So many things have happened between May 29 and today. In fact, from May 29, when the president just dropped the shoe about fuel subsidy, it just set the year into a whole different direction. That's the best way to put it. And since then, there's been policy this, policy that, reshuffling of this, reshuffling of that. It feels really, 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 really long.
Are you saying it's been a long walk?
It has been a very long walk.
Meaning,
actually,
maybe I live in a different planet. No, to be sincere,
I think it's because everything is happening so fast and at the same time. It feels like a very short period of time. But then when you look at it on the flip side, the impact of it feels like it has been for a very long period of time.
Yeah.
I'm sure if you talk to a lot of Nigerians, they feel like Tinubu has been president for 2 years.
Our reporters, they've gone out, and some from the States, it's like you are speaking their mind.
Honestly,
that it's been like 1 year. Is it because of the difficulty or the tortuous journey, I mean?
Well, we can't speak to the tortuous journey because we are not the ones traveling it per se from that level. What we are just doing is following the guy that is leading us right now. And it has really, really been very difficult for all of us. From the first subsidy removal to the market forces, in quotes, that keeps
allowing things
the price
to be determined by the market force.
So it has really been, if you look at the economic situation of the country right now, it is not in the best state, and everybody is suffering it significantly. Not just from the bottom, like even everybody has had to readjust, except for the politicians, of course, and which is a very sad and pathetic thing, which made it very worse for me when I saw the news earlier today, where the Senate was saying that they had no adjustments in terms of budgets to make. We know how bloated salaries are for these people. What would
but don't forget that they have, is it a bill or whatever, the revenue mobilization allocation, maybe by its mandates, they are reviewing, maybe any moment from now.
Well,
maybe before the 1 year anniversary, we will see a brand new salary package for political office holders.
I hope that comes up very soon, because
you are in support that they should get more.
No, they should get less.
Oh,
IMAC is trying to increase.
Yes,
I thought they were trying to review.
No. It's to review it upwards because of market forces. Exactly.
Because of market forces.
Yes.
Oh, so they can review theirs
and exigencies of the moment.
Oh, they can review theirs upward because of market forces. But the Nigeria, we're still arguing for basic minimum wage till this very date. We're still arguing for other economic shock absorbers to ensure that we can actually manage through this thwarting period, this very difficult period that we actually faced us. We've actually found ourselves in. And all of it stems from poor implementation by the president. Yes, we understand what the politics side of things can be and how it is very important and paramount that the president actually implements policy in a very speedy manner to avoid vested interests from getting involved in the entire process. But on the other side of it, citizens need to be given adequate time,
a sense of belonging,
adequate resources for them to be able to manage themselves throughout this period. Honestly, people are really suffering.
Okay, it's 100 days, as I said earlier, and coincidentally, is it by accident or by design? The labor now they are,
It's by design.
on
It's
strike.
definitely by design.
Do you have light in your house?
I don't. The power went out this afternoon, and I saw the...
Meaning they lived to their words, because
Yeah.
they said they will cut up light, they will cut up water.
There's been no lights. There's water, actually, because I use water board. There's still been water since in the house.
Okay.
But there's been no power since this afternoon. And it's really
You
really
bought
pathetic.
fuel for your generator, or you surrender?
Well, how much is fuel? I can't buy fuel for generator right now. I'm just going to actually have to wait. I had to go out earlier this evening to go charge my phone somewhere else. It's
Is
really,
this what
pathetic.
Nigerians bargain for? I mean, everyone should be happy today, right?
See, the thing is, and speaking more frankly, is
Okay.
if you look at things from different perspectives, you get to see how best we can actually handle these things in a way that actually, well, how do I put this? In a way that actually leads to lasting impact. The impact of these strike action does not in any way affect the top 1% of our politicians. They don't. I don't think some of them even.
They
know
don't
that there's
feel
no
it.
light. Perhaps they don't even know that there is no light, because they are going to have steady power in their house. The villa is going to have steady power in the president is currently not in the country.
I want to agree with you. Where I
so-
live, I don't want to call the
Exactly.
area, but a neighbor, I'm telling you, it's like he doesn't care about NEDC. Is it not NEDC? I mean, Abuja Electricity,
That's
AEDC.
AEDC, yes.
Exactly. Abuja Electricity
Distribution Company.
Yes, because 24 hours is on gen.
There are other houses that are off the grid. Currently, they're using solar powers, and the moment you can get a decent amount of solar panels and 2 lithium-ion
Another
batteries.
alternative source, right?
Yeah, and two
Yeah.
lithium-ion batteries. You can go off the grid in your private residence, which is actually the situation, and which is actually something that most of these politicians who I've had the opportunity to spend some time with some of them, go to their houses. They are mostly off the grid. They are not on the grid, so they're not going
They
to
have
feel.
given off.
They're not going to feel the impact of this.
But you know, for you to
particular
even
action.
have the solar light, you have to invest heavily. I don't think if Nigerian worker like you and me.
Oh, we can't. Well,
able
it
to.
depends. If you calculate the sunk cost, if it's something you can squeeze yourself right now and do. But then again, it depends on how much you're actually earning as a person. Because for you to do a decent solar system in your house, you cost you nothing less than, because one lithium-ion battery costs like 1.5 million for one.
Wow.
So for you to actually put off your house completely,
It's the
off
one that will power your borehole,
powers the entire house.
the AC and all that.
Yeah, and then cost for maintenance and other things. But the major, I think the labor unions, organized labor leads, need to look out for more effective ways of advocacy.
Okay, you are not
Strike
for the,
actions.
you don't like this strike.
Strike actions
But they are
don't work.
already divided. And some
TUC.
people are saying that politicians had infiltrated one faction. Is it the TUC? Because, or the
It doesn't.
NLC?
I don't think it matters where politicians have entered. Politicians are everywhere. Let's call a speed and not a shovel. For most of them who vie for these offices of being president, some of them they have to go through elections. So by
They are
design,
sponsored.
they are also politicians in a manner of
Some are saying
But-
the TUC that, listen to the Minister of Labour, Simon Lalong, that they were actually settled by government. Others are saying Ajero, who led NLC out, not to participate in the meeting, that they were mobilized by the opposition.
According to Martin Luther King Jr., he said, the essence of a non-violent protest is to create such tension that the government is forced to sit down and listen to the issues that
Are they creating the tension in your
they've
estimation?
refused to actually listen to. Now, creating a tension in the sense that if you want to protest, you have to be open to negotiate. Because at the end of the day, if you're not negotiating, then you're not getting anywhere. They say wars that are fought on the battlefield, at the end of the day, it's in a round table that a resolve is come to, and soldiers have to go back home. So I don't think that the NUC strike in any way is going to alleviates the current situation in any way.
The NLC.
The NLC, sorry. The NLC strike at this point is going to alleviate the current situation of the country. It's
rather aggravating.
Yes, it's not going to make any difference because now, like I said, the people who you are trying to create a creative tension for are not even impacted by this particular action.
And the president is even out of the country.
Exactly.
He's in India and maybe out of mischief. I saw a WhatsApp message, someone saying that our president went to India ahead of time, ahead of commencement of the meeting there. Yes, that ordinarily he ought to have waited symbolically for the 100 days, to say, okay, today is 100 days, this is what we have done, we are sorry for not doing this, and I'm attending a certain meeting somewhere, then he can jet out.
Well, I figured, I assumed anyway, that President Tinubu was going to do a national broadcast today.
Okay, for
I was expecting, but it's disappointing not to get any. But then again, the president is always almost on our TV, unlike the former president, which is actually a good thing.
He's far better.
Yeah, which is actually...
in terms of communication.
He's in touch. I know as of this morning, or was it yesterday morning, Ajurun Glale was in one of the sister stations talking about what is going to happen in the G20 summit, why the president is going, the benefits of actually being there, and how that will actually help with the Nigerian economic situation. Don't forget that Nigeria is not a member of the G20.
Yeah.
We're not a member. We're not an active member.
Just
of
like the BRICS.
So, yeah.
That the vice president attended in South. We are good at attending some of these meetings. You think we are driving something from them?
It depends. It's good to put our faces out there. We cannot just... We're not a nationalist country. We cannot afford to be a solely nationalist country at this point. We need support. We need the help of other countries. We need to join unions. We need to join the bandwagon of some people who share our common interests so that we can actually protect our interests internationally and nationally as well, especially when situations may actually go out of hand. But however, I was shocked to find out that Nigeria is not a member of the G20, and I thought we have been for a while. But we aren't. Hopefully that will change. But another thing that would have to notice is the G20 is not a formal organization. It's an informal. So we're not even binding by most of the agreements there.
Yeah.
It's more or less like a small boys club, like call it that, where we can meet and we can discuss and we can see how we can exchange economic...
to chart a common...
Yeah, to chart a common course as time goes on. So
but Mukhtar, if it is 100 days and today the organized labor is out there, many Nigerians, if you see the vox pop, some of us conducted, the countenance is moody. People are not really happy. You think this new government expected something like this, even though they said it's going to be very tough? But do you think that the toughness will be as tough as we are witnessing now?
I have learned to always be a tad excited when things start off bad. When things start off not good, I tend to be a tad excited, and that means that...
How do you mean? Happy?
Yeah, because it means that there's something better to look forward to. Sometimes...
Light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes. See, the current economic situation that we're actually suffering, not to campaign for the president in any way or the current administration.
No, fair enough, because we're assessing his 100
Exactly.
days, yeah.
So the current policies that the president have actually rolled out is a policy that we should have rolled out 10 years ago.
Even 20.
Yeah, I wished President Goodluck Jonathan was allowed to remove fuel subsidy at the time he did. It would have by now would have already been used to.
But not to quote you, today, former Governor Kayode Fayemi, at a function, he said that action taken by Jonathan in 2012 was actually adulterated by politics. I'm paraphrasing, this is one of his words, but I'm paraphrasing. Meaning that they ought to have supported.
Yes, we ought to have supported it because it was for the betterment of the country at the time. I really wish that we did because I know I protested it at the time.
That was 11 years now.
Yeah, I was very ignorant of some of this ripple effect. All I was concerned about was the immediate effect of my personal well-being at the time, which is where most Nigerians are actually looking at things from. If you look at it holistically and look at it from a broader spectrum, you get to find that it is best that we actually start getting used to the realities that the government should not have any business in running businesses. The government should instead create policies that ensures that there's an enabling environment for businesses. So the market forces that we keep talking about, and another thing that we need to pay attention to within that market forces conversation is that there are very different variables that makes up the market force. The government needs to do its own responsibility beyond the private sector actions and all of that.
Not to hands off everything.
Yeah, there's also a part that the government needs to play. One of it is the government needs to stabilize the FX. The government needs to ensure that refineries in the countries are working so that that cost of transportation out and transportation in can be cut off completely from the cost of crude refining in the country. When it's being sold to the final user. So that's also something that we need to actually play along to. So why the private actors are actually going to do their part? Because it is the actions that the government will do that would ensure that the market forces can stabilize, because the government owns the knife and the yam in a manner of speaking. So however the government plays its own card would actually be how the private sector can dance to that particular tone. Because currently you see that they keep giving the excuse of, FX went up, that's why they're actually increasing the the price of fuel. We know that for FX in the country, supply routes is where the problem is. There's no supply. So, which is why I'm excited about the president going for the G20 summit. Perhaps if we can get more investors back into the country, because investors are leaving because of the bad policies that have the CBN has actually doled out in the past 8 to 9 years now. So perhaps if after the G20 summit that is attending, I know that he'll be going for a UN General Assembly, most definitely, which is this month as well. And if all of that can actually stem out to something that will start getting investors into the country, perhaps the supply side of FX can go up. If the supply side of FX can go up, then the Naira can actually gain some strength. Yes. So if the Naira begins to gain strength, and then that's one part of market forces. And then we can actually see how we can maybe get 1 or 2 refineries working within the next 18 months. Yeah. Within the next 18 months.
We had a very long conversation, towards evening in the newsroom with our editor-in-chief and his deputy. And most of us brought, quite a number of issues. But I have a feeling, and many Nigerians have a feeling, that government did not start this thing correctly. The foundation is really shaky. The removal of the subsidy. You have mentioned certain things now. And I think it was our editor-in-chief who cited the example of Saudi Arabia. There is this story by Bloomberg that they subsidize, the citizens there in Saudi Arabia to the tune of $7,000 per person. Maybe education, healthcare, fuel, maybe water, security, and all that. I don't know. I didn't read the main story. I attempted reading it, but I only read few paragraphs. But here, Mukhtar, what we are meant to believe is that subsidy is just fraud, so it must go. How do you think President Tinubu will get it right? Because they say even in UK they are a subsidy. Now, in US they are a subsidy. In Germany they are a subsidy.
There is subsidies in this country, but there are so many other things we need to look at. Let's use Saudi as, like you said, as an example. The total amount of, what is the total amount of the citizens in Saudi over the GDP of that particular country? Saudi generates a lot of money. We all know from Hajj, they generate money from the oil.
But they also invest a lot in Hajj.
Yeah, of course they do. Yeah. But there's a lot of money that goes into the economy, that circulates in the economy. So what's it? I can't recall how many cities, the total number of their cities, but I know that it's not up to half of ours.
No,
as a country. Yeah, it's not up to half. So they can afford to do up to $7,000 per head. I'm not saying that Nigeria cannot walk its way towards that level, but I'm also saying that we need to look at things realistically from where we stand, from the different variables that needs to be in place for us to be able to get to that particular point of Saudi or US. Let's use US for example, because they are closer to us. US is over 300 million, but their economy is really, really large. The US economy is driven by...
Some believe ours ought to be larger than theirs.
Tens of trillions of US dollars. That's how the economy is driven. I agree with you that it ought to be, but it is not the situation. If you look at the way the Nigeria and other African countries are designed, we are designed in a manner which has really, really affected us in such a way that the trade and economic activity that we do, according to the AFCFTA and why it is actually a big deal.
You're not talking about balance of trade,
yeah,
right?
Balance of trade, which will ensure economic growth in each of the African countries. If you look at the African Free Continental Trade Area Agreement and you look at the reasons that actually lined up to that particular trade agreement, you see that more than tens of billions of US dollars of African trade are done by African countries with foreign countries than within African countries. And same can be said about the Nigerian economy as well, which seems to be the poster boy for African economy. We are very large. We are doing well, despite the theft and everything that's happening in the country.
But the citizens are not feeling it,
But we're not feeling the impact. So we are hopeful that if policies can be rolled out effectively and effectively implemented, perhaps in the next 5 years, because I'm not an idealist who I think things are going to change between now and the end of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's first term.
Right.
I think things are going to be a bit difficult for at least another this is already 100 days, so 1 year, maybe another 2 years.
You are not towing the line of 14th Emir of Kano, Muhammadu Sunusi, who said that Nigerians will still experience more harder times.
It's always darkest before dawn. If you look at how China changed their economy in the 70s, you get to see that it was really, really bad. It plummeted so poor before they started climbing up. And what did they? Similar, a little bit, not really exactly the same, but a little bit of what we are actually experiencing currently. My problem, it's not in the doling out of the policy. My problem is in the effective implementation of those policies.
And this brings me to the issue of the palliative. I just give an example of Saudi. They, subsidize lives of their citizens by $7,000 per head. Now here we are. The federal government, has rolled out palliatives. State governments, they have also done that. But it's sickening if you look at some of the photos. Packaging maybe 1 kg of rice. The lucky ones, 10 kg.
I've said this
sharing
before.
this to the people.
I wrote a very elaborate article which was published on a paper some weeks ago. Okay. Nigeria's economic policy of subsidizing poverty. We don't want to pay subsidy every other place, but our reply for subsidy, it is to subsidize the poverty that we are trying to alleviate. It doesn't work.
It will not work.
It doesn't work. We cannot subsidize poverty. When other key stakeholders were giving ideas, I included, when we're talking about this particular way that we can actually alleviate and cushion the effect of this first subsidy removal. One of the top things we talked about was rolling out buses. The president gave it in his speech when he was talking at that time about rolling out 3,000 CNG buses, which was a good thing, because if you divide that by the entire country, you're getting about 83 buses per state, plus the FCT, which is actually a very significant improvement. But where are those CNG buses? Giving states 5 billion to do God knows what, to do God knows what, does not work. So what are the sustainability plan for most of these interventions that they're actually rolling out? I think it's high time the Nigerian government runs this country like an organization in the manner of speaking. States should have been submitting proposals, and then we should have milestones.
Since they actually discredited the social register of the previous administration. Yes. I was discussing with someone, Mukhtar, who said that if the governors are sincere, they should have used the voters register, because it's the closest identity.
Exactly, and then it even shows our demography based on your current.
Because once your name is on the voters register, meaning you are 18 and above, and you have a ward. Right? You have a polling unit. Meaning, assuming they are using that, they will have taken these interventions directly to the people, even if it's significant.
I don't think, I still am against the idea of the intervention in its entirety to start with. Okay. I am still
so left for you, the intervention have rolled out the sharing of rice.
It is wrong.
Which we did an exclusive story that the governors and even contractors of the federal government, they have mopped,
rice in the market.
In the market,
I saw that.
You can't even have it now. The price increased by more than 10,000 in 10 days. In fact, on Friday, on this program, someone called that there was addition of 5,000 within 2 days.
Just imagine
the price.
So that's why I said we cannot subsidize poverty. We cannot keep doing this handouts and unconditional cash transfers and giving out food and calling them palliatives. In fact, by definition in itself, palliatives means something that you do that does not really solve the problem. It doesn't really solve the problem.
It's just to mitigate.
Even mitigation, it doesn't really help to mitigate, really. Just like a temporary
thing. It's putting something on nothing.
It's just
something that you do today, and then tomorrow it is nowhere to be found.
It is nowhere to be found. So, because now I watched an elaborate Kanu this thing yesterday. Was it yesterday?
Yeah.
When Kanu launched theirs, I saw Rams and everything. I was like, this is, I know the federal government has given out 4 billion or 3 billion of the out of the 5 billion. Is this what 3 billion?
But maybe say they are even better because they give goats, sheep to women that most likely in the next 6 months, they will have.
It depends on how you look at it. Now, you give me sheep. I don't know how to rear animal. I've never reared an animal in my life. How does that work? I don't see the way we've been going about palliative sharing in this country is really something we need to review. It's just terrible because then it's just an avenue for people to steal money at the end of the day.
Sadly,
I can guarantee you, I've consulted for public service before sometime last year. I can guarantee you that if you look at the budget for each of these palliative, you would have heard that the rice costs, instead of the regular 40,000 which it costs now in the market, on the budget to be 60,000, 70,000 per bag.
Or even 100.
Or even 100.
They can do it
per bag.
Yeah.
So which is actually another problem in its entirety.
Yeah.
And that way of budget padding and racketeering of finances. So we need to actually see how we can find sustainable solutions to problems that are long lasting and would, at the end of the day, the palliatives should not in itself disappear. It should support the government's long-term efforts for what they hope to achieve in 18 months. So when you put a palliative in place, it is more or less like your low-hanging fruit. So something you hope that, okay, if you can put this in place, it can just sustain things for now. But then it should be able to grow over time. It should just be, it's like a quick response. So it's like an adrenaline. So you pump it into the system. It doesn't just wear off. It keeps you energetic until you can find your own footing again and continuously. But handing out money, handing out rice, 10 kg of rice that will finish by next week.
If you have two children,
Imagine a family of 5. 3 children, husband and wife. That's a family of 5. Where would that 10 kg of rice be by next week or by the end of this week? It's going to actually disappear.
And it will be on record that the
government give palliative,
maybe for the next 1 year.
But it doesn't
they will keep making reference to that.
It doesn't serve anybody. Perhaps what I would have thought would be go to agricultural communities, find a way you can support their livelihood. Help them subsidize everything but the fuel. Subsidize the seed, subsidize the labor, subsidize the fertilizer, everything.
And even water.
In agriculture.
Yes, so that they can do all year round.
Exactly. So if it's agricultural communities, help them with that.
So I now setting agenda for them because it is already 100 days. My intention was actually to defer this question until maybe later. Why are governors, all the politicians at the state and national not celebrating? I know that from 1999 up to maybe 2015, you see them rolling out achievements
for the first
in court. They may not be true, but you see them buying spaces, pages of newspapers, radio, TV, and all that. But there is, should I say, graveyard silence this time around?
I think there's nothing to celebrate, really. If you go ahead and say, of course, there are some achievements that the government have actually garnered since it came into power. But if you want to go and amplify those ones, then you're not reading the room.
Okay.
People are not happy.
And that is why maybe the politicians understand this.
I've always said this, that say what you want, but President Tinubu listens to some extent.
Okay, he listens.
He does listen.
Which is a credit to
you see it from how he makes his appointment and how he withdraws the appointment when there's an uproar. You see it from how he rolls out a policy and how he withdraws the policy when there's an uproar, especially when he knows that the policy is reversible.
It's a sign of leadership.
Yeah, it's a sign of leadership.
So I want you to now summarize in less than 1 minute. Going forward, tomorrow it will be 101 days. Where should Tinubu face? Where should the governors face? And where should Nigerians face, in summary?
Sustainable economic changes. Okay. That should be the key. First, for now, I've always said that if the president does not achieve anything in his first 4 years, he should ensure that there is security and then there's power.
Then the governors?
In this country. The same thing, the governors should actually play along because the governors are extension. Governors
and then the citizens, Mukhtar?
Support.
Okay. They should stop these tantrums, right?
No. I think opposition is good.
Okay.
We need that to keep them accountable. But we should also make sure that it stems from a place of support and not from a place of antagony.
And finally, we are going to the tribunal tomorrow. Expectation from Nigerians?
Well, it's a very tough one to call. We see what will happen. I don't want to have to preempt the judges.
All right. Thank you very much, Mukhtar Suleiman, for coming to the program.
Thank you very much.
We appreciate your contribution.
Yeah.
And viewers, we'll go on a short break, and when we return, conversation continues with another guest. Stay with us. Welcome back. If you are just joining, you are watching Daily Politics on Trust TV. Do well to follow the conversation across all our social platforms on Facebook, Instagram, and watch us live on YouTube. I'm now joined by Honorable Adeole Adeogun. He is the chairman, coalition of all APC support groups. He joins us virtually from Lagos to discuss more on President Bola Tinubu's 100 days in office. Welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, how is Lagos this evening?
I'm fine.
Okay. It is now 100 days in office. You chaired the coalition of APC support groups for Asiwaju. What is your assessment of his 100 days in office?
So far, so good. First of all, let me thank Nigerians who gave Asiwaju Bola Tinubu the mandate to be the president of Nigeria. And like I probably said, we are not going to judge Asiwaju with whether 100 or 200 or 300. They want to judge Asiwaju on daily basis based on what he's doing and what we feel he will do. But based on your question, I want to congratulate Nigerians. I want to congratulate the president that we are having the first 100 days in office the next 2 days.
Okay, Honorable. Are you satisfied with the decisions he has taken so far? For instance, the removal of fuel subsidy vis-a-vis how Nigerians are faring today, the removal of the disparity between, Naira in official window and the parallel market. Do you think these are actually decisions taken at the right time?
Yes, it's better than not taking it at all. We are aware that while we're having our campaign programs, all the major presidential candidates of major political parties came up with a decision separately. We're going to remove subsidy immediately. And I feel our presidential candidate, who is now the president of Nigeria, did the same. But like he equally said, he's not coming to a tea party. He knew he's coming to rule Nigeria or it's going to govern Nigeria where we already have challenges. It's my only hope that it will not take long before Nigerians start feeling the positive impact of our president.
Yeah. Now, those of you that are very close to him, how is he feeling? I mean, even if it is from a distance, because you can see, even the IMF said that with the removal of the subsidy, more Nigerians are now poorer than they were in the last 4 months.
Basically, when things drop, you will feel the impact. And like I said, I believe that the impact is worth it, because we are going to have a very long time gain of what is happening. Yeah. You see, the subsidy removal, the subsidy itself has been described as scam by most economic players.
Yes.
And if we continue to swim in scams, there's no way we will not be consumed by the scam.
Yeah.
Hello?
Yes, I'm with you, sir. Go on.
Because this thing came so sudden, Nigeria is feeling the negative impact. But if you look at what is happening in Nigeria today, this administration, the cabinet has just been formed. They are just about a week or two old.
Yes.
So all the ministers are now just trying to settle down to see what is on ground. When you're talking of palliative is just a short-term effect of what Nigeria would expect. Some of the appointments made by Shuaju, they are long-term achievements or long-term impact assessment achievements that will actually come to benefit Nigerians. If you see some of the, look at the person that was appointed as Minister of Finance and coordinating minister, the veteran Chief Wale Edun,
yes,
from Ogun State. He has worked in close contact with Ashwaju for a very long time. They understand themselves. I feel in the last 1 or 2 weeks, they must be looking at the tables, at their files to see what was wrong in Nigeria. What was wrong with Nigerians? How do we alleviate this suffering on a permanent basis? And how will Nigeria continue to enjoy the dividend of democracy under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu? And I'm telling you that they are not skipping over it. They are not skipping over it. Nigerians should be a little bit more patient. We know it's not easy. Everybody is feeling it. I'm feeling it. Everyone is feeling the impact. But it's just because this is the beginning. This is the beginning.
You're also feeling it. You're also feeling the heat. Then how are you convincing members of your coalition? Because you led a huge coalition across the country. You travel all over. What are the feelers from the followers of APC, the various groups you led? What are the feelers from them? Are they in tune with what is happening, or they have started also calling for reversal of some of these policies?
No, no one is calling for reversal. They are all just calling for the quick resolution of whatever will come to alleviate the already impacted suffering of Nigeria, which did not actually start from Ashwaju. It started long ago in the previous administration. Yeah. You see, no member of our coalition will call for reversal of fuel subsidy or for reversal of some of the activities of our president. Well, many of them is that, one, they will like to be part of this government so as to contribute their quota to make Nigeria great. Two, to look inward to see what activities of government will make Nigerians smile again. And I feel it's actually doing it. Like I've said, no member of our coalition will ever ask that these policies should be reversed, because we know the economic policy has been engineered by the Minister of Finance and Economic team. is something that will elevate Nigerian suffering for a very long time.
Okay, I want to ask you this. Is it really accidental or maybe deliberate? Today, the president is marking 100 days in office. Quite a number of governors marking 100 days in office. And instead of Nigeria to be in a jubilant mood, you can see the labor across the states and even FCT, they have partially grounded the country. I would not say they have completely grounded the country, but they have partially grounded the country. Is it really a positive pointer that on a day, because it's a milestone, 100 days is a milestone, are you really happy that today the labor is out on the streets protesting some of these policies taken by the president?
I want to believe that Labour are doing it genuinely in the sense that I think some Nigerians are seen Ashwaju as a listening leader. I feel Labour should give him enough chance. Whichever they see as gray area, they should be able to come up. So is it going about the street might not be the solution, because at the end of the day, no war ends on the battlefield, it's on the table. No matter how long they stay on the street, they will still come back to negotiate, to judge with the government. So I feel they should give a little bit more chance. They are leaders in their own right. Just like Ashwaju is called a leader of Nigeria. I believe that they should not be too much in a haste to actually, so this is the second time, and I feel if you look at, we already have, sorry sir, that they already have divided a house. You see, NLC before now, I've always been working in tandem with the TUC. You see, TUC yesterday came home and said no. They have not seen any reason why they should take their members on the street. But like I've said, I want to see that NLC is doing this genuinely, because there are some kind of there are some messages on the street that some of these messages from the NLC are politically motivated. I don't want to believe that, but I feel some of the things that is happening is pointing to that direction, because they were invited yesterday to a meeting and they refused to go. The TUC and the NLC have always been together. So if they are invited and a sector, which is the TUC, agreed to attend, NLC said they are not going, do they want to set the country aflame? Do they want to destroy the country in the Committee of Nations? I want to believe NLC should also look inward and see where they could contribute. Because I believe, number one, let me be frank with you, you can't remove this cankerworm that is happening in Nigeria from the civil servants. If this government come out and say they want to probe with the NLC, many years will roll. Therefore, let us see how everybody's hands should be on the deck, so that the Nigerian masses will enjoy this government that we are building around Ashwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Are you saying that there is infiltration of maybe opposition within the ranks of organized labor? That yesterday TUC agreed to go to the negotiation table while NLC boycotted the process?
Of course, there's no knowledge now. There's no knowledge. People have been saying this. There's no knowledge. Ajero, who's the president of the NLC, you see, his disposition to the government since the beginning of this government has not been too positive enough. But I feel the president is doing his job. He's doing it with his team. But like I said, I want to please plead with the NLC to please take it easy, because what we are doing today will be history tomorrow. We've seen several presidents of the NLC. We've seen Adam Oshomole, who was a governor, who is now a senator. We've seen this previous NLC president, and this is the first time that we have probably seen the NLC and TUC working separately. I feel they should be on the same page, advising government where necessary, and doing the best they could do for their members and for Nigeria. Like I said, no single things can happen in Nigeria without the cooperation of the members of the civil society. And if NSC today is on their own, going about the street and saying they want to go on protest against this government, Nigerians are watching. Would this be the best for us now? I don't feel so.
So, going by what you said, will you conclude that Tinubu has started on a good footing and the trajectory is okay? He should sustain the tempo?
No, I won't say so, but I think it's on the right track, and I feel that we'll get it right very soon. With the indices that is available on the table, we'll get it right. With the minister just running and the economic team just being constructed out, I know we'll get it right very, very soon.
All right, and then we're rounding up. You see, today, the Students' Union in Lagos said that by tomorrow, they will take to the streets in protest of hike in school fees. You're an educationist because I read your background, and you cited many examples as to how Tinubu got it right during his days as governor of Lagos State, as far as education is concerned. Now, how do you think he can manage this delicate situation? Students can't afford school fees. Their parents are crying. What do you think he can do in the interim so that students will not actually leave school?
Yes, Ashwaju has not come up with any policy on education. And I believe that as soon as it's ready, Nigeria will smile. Nigeria will smile. With his education policy, Nigeria will smile. He has not said anything about education. You know why he was the governor? He was the first governor that started in 1999 for education, both at the primary and at the secondary level. And I can tell you vividly, and without missing words, that today we have many tribes in Lagos because of his educational policy. We have people from the east coming to Lagos for their school. We have from the north. And that is because of what he believes in education. And I believe that as soon as he comes up with his policy on education, Nigeria will smile. I am very sure of that. It's yet to come up. And I'm very sure now, I'm sure you have said, even while he was campaigning, that no child will be driven out of school because of school fees. He has equally said that a 4-year program in our university will be rounded off after 4 years, not 4 years for 7 years. I'm very sure these are some of the policies that is coming up with. We can beat our chest and say Ashwaju is coming up with something that Nigeria will be proud of.
All right. Finally, what are your thoughts about tomorrow's judgment at the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal?
You see, we are very hopeful. We are very, very hopeful. We are hopeful in the sense that every variables that are available to us as a party shows that Ashwaju won the contest. And if you look at some of the petition written, some are so to me tribal. Somebody carried this, somebody did not carry this, somebody changed his name, somebody is not from the family. You see, the truth of the matter is that did Ashwaju win the election to us as a political party, to us as member of the support group, because we did our work. Yes, Ashwaju won the election, and the tribunal tomorrow will confirm what INEC have said, that Ashwaju won the election, and I'm very sure the petition will be thrown out of the window by tomorrow. So by this time tomorrow, I'm very sure if you call me, you should be congratulating me that it's already 2-0. One when INEC declare Ashwaju as the winner of the contest, and 2 when the tribunal will throw away all petitions
in official window,
and the tribunal tomorrow will confirm what INEC have said, that Ashwaju won the election, and I'm very sure the petition will be thrown out of the window by tomorrow. So by this time tomorrow, I'm very sure if you call me, you should be congratulating me that it's already 2-0. One when INEC declare Ashwaju as the winner of the contest, and 2 when the tribunal will throw away all petition that is against our mandate.
All right. Thank you very much, Honorable Adewale Adeogun, Chairperson, coalition of all APC support groups, for joining us from Lagos. Well, thank you for coming to the program.
It's my pleasure. God bless you.
Thank you. And
thank you.
Viewers, that was Honorable Adewale Adeogun, as I said, which brings us to the end of today's program. We thank you, and we sincerely hope you found the conversation engaging and informative. Join us tomorrow for another interesting package, but remain peaceful as the tribunal decides tomorrow. Bye-bye for now. I'm Hamza Idris.